Derek Carr leaves Saints-Giants game with injury. Is it time for New Orleans to move on? Ladies and gentlemen, the backdrop of today's video is off the bench. My God, the angels, the sun, the sky is parted. The angels are coming down. What is going on here? Is this a nuclear bomb? T-Bob and Jacob Hester, and then me face the franchise on a completely different level. Let's go ahead and watch, react, and just do what I do best.
Speaking of poop, how about them Saints yesterday, baby? 14-11 winners over the New York Football Giants.
Yes.
One of the most historic NFL franchises could not handle the power of the Houdat Nation and the black and gold.
That's right.
Yesterday, we were treated to a game that featured 18 penalties, 15 punts, a combined 10 of 34 on third down. How about this, guy?
And I think the Saints had like 12 negative plays.
Guys, can I interest you in some 3 and outs? Because of 27 possessions, 11 went 3 and out.
Jesus
That's right, baby.
Christ.
We had missed field goal.
Remember what your boy said whenever we previewed on this? Actually, previewed it on Off the Bench, where the producer said that he thought it was going to be a defensive struggle. And I said, well, a bit of a misnomer, because it's not going to be a defensive struggle as much as it will be 2 offensively inept teams. And sometimes that does get confused. Like, low scoring doesn't always mean defensive struggle. Low scoring can mean that you're just offensively inept. And that's exactly what happened in this game. The defenses weren't good. The offenses were bad. They're not the same, right? Like, they're not synonymous. So let's just make that distinction.
We had a failed fake punt. We had punt return touchdowns negated by penalties. We had field goals negated by personal fouls. And we had a blocked final field goal attempt. Shout out Brian Brzee. Actually had an incredible game.
Yeah.
But yes.
Brian Brzee, like, he's good at one thing. He's good at pass rushing, being athletic. He's horrific at stopping the run. So when it comes to pass rush, yeah, he's awesome.
If you watched that game yesterday, if you watched it closely, I should say, congratulations to you, because you, sir, are a man and a sadist and a masochist.
Yes.
And enjoy self-flagellation.
Yes.
I enjoyed the game, but I got to be honest, the brain cells that it occupied were probably in the single digits. I had it on. I was walking around, playing with the kids, doing some stuff. I'd look up and be like, Kidra Miller got 3 yards. Look at that. You know? He did let the dog off the leash, a whole 9 feet.
It's kind of like the exact same thing as the Rams game. Like, after the Rams game, that's what I came on here and I was like, I feel like I didn't watch anything. And that's how this game was. I felt like I didn't watch anything. Like, I was just sitting there watching every single second, and I'm sitting there and it's like, all right, well, incomplete pass, run for 1 yard, negative play, punt. Okay, now the Giants have it. Incomplete pass, punt. And I'm just watching this just complete nothingness. And then all of a sudden the game's over. And it was, and again, exact same thing with the Rams, where I was watching the Rams game like, well, the Saints aren't really doing anything. The Rams aren't really doing anything. Puka Nakua's not really doing anything. Okay, game's over. What the hell just happened?
And then I would go back to doing whatever I was doing. Oh, look, Derek Carr just tried to jump and shattered his body. Oh, that's cool. And then I would just go back to doing whatever I was doing. Which, by the way, guys, if Derek Carr's hurt, great news for me and my balls, because he ranks top 12 in like a ton of different stuff right now. So we're good.
Yeah.
Fracture, yeah, you could tell it was definitely a fracture. I thought it was like his forearm.
No,
maybe.
Rappaport says fracture in his non-throwing hand.
Keep him out.
Yeah, maybe it's the one maybe it's the hand that is directly down towards the ground that's trying to embrace the fall or brace for the fall.
Just keep him out. There's no point in Derek Carr paying. Just make the money, Derek Carr. Nobody cares at this point. Whatever. Daniel Blunt, T-Bob, the game wasn't that bad.
It was horrific. Who said that? Who said that in the chat?
Not good.
I got the bulldog. I got that dog. Why? Why do I have this? Because I want to remind everybody that's watching that every single time I do this video, I got that dog in me.
I don't know, dude. I think it was pretty bad. That was one of the worst NFL games I think I've ever watched.
It was bad, but like when he was out Friday, you and I were talking about that. We kind of expected it, right? I think we went like 17-14. Like we kind of expected a game like this.
Yeah. That is true. It's not far from our score prediction. These two teams combined 1-13 against teams with winning records. Shout out Jeff Duggan, who has a lot of just really crappy stats in his breakdown of the game today. Again, though, how about Brian Brzee? Good game for Brzee.
Yeah.
Game-winning field goal block. Love to see that. Now he's checked the one box that Marcus Davenport had.
Yeah. Right.
So he's a legitimate, much better pick than Davenport ever was. I mean, he was already before, but I love seeing him. A game-winning field goal block is badass, no matter what. Because at that point, it did feel like, oh my God, you're going to blow this. Like you had to lead the entire game. The offense couldn't get anything going. The defense is finally out of steam.
I thought Malik was going to score on the one that he kept making people miss at the end.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's when Alante got embarrassed on back-to-back plays. First, Drew Lock makes Alante miss. And then the very next play, Malik Neighbors shakes Alante out of his shoes and Will Harris.
There you go, dude. And you managed to avoid it, thank God.
It was nice to see, the offensive line that we thought we would see all season long finally back together. And
was it nice to see, Jacob? Because we averaged 2.9 yards a carry. So, I mean, give me Connor McGovern.
Cesar Ruiz continues to struggle, but it was still nice to see, the one offensive line get out there and actually playing a game together. So there's a couple of things to take from this. You're past the point where I think draft choice is something you're worried about. Like you've already won too many games to get one of those top three type choice,
Let me, so I know we keep saying like, well, this player's injured. We need to get this player back. I don't think it matters whenever the player you're getting back is like a D- C level player, which goes back to a point I made in like 10 videos ago where I said, are the Saints unlucky this year with injuries, or is the roster just talentless? And I'm starting to err towards the talentless, and talentless is harsh, but I'm erring towards this team is just like below average, like even at its highest level, like, I'm just going to pick a random player. But it's like, oh, well, we got Jawan Johnson back. It's like, sweet. Like, we got back the 15th best tight end in the NFL. Like, oh, well, we're getting Paulson Adebo back. I'm just making these hypotheticals. It's like, all right, well, Paulson Adebo is like a C-level player. So when we're getting, like, healthy, when the offensive line is getting healthy and they're just kind of below average to average players, it's not like we're getting back Jamar Chase. It's not like we're getting back, Trent Williams. Like we're just, the roster just really isn't great. The roster just isn't very good. Same with like if we got Rashid Shaheed back. It's like, oh, Rashid Shaheed's back. So okay, well, how much is he really going to elevate the offense? Like how much is he really going to elevate things? Probably not much. So injuries do suck, but I think it's just more of like we're either gonna float between bad player or average player.
Draft pick. So like just continue to go out there, see what you can do. The NFC South continues to be up and down, right? The Falcons lose again. The Bucs are pulling away a little bit, but I mean you still have an opportunity. You still have something to play for. Like I said, you're already past the point when you're worrying about tanking. So go see what you can do. See if you can create any momentum. You're going to have a tough, difficult choice to make when it comes to who's going to be the next head coach. You got a couple of tough games also coming up, and if you win those, maybe the Rizzler gets an opportunity.
Hell yeah, he will. Well, this is the point of no return that we have entered, where the team is going to play every game like it's a Super Bowl, because for most of the people on the team and coaching staff, whether it's Kubiak or Rizzi or whoever, each game is the Super Bowl. Even for Jake Haener, if he's a starting quarterback. Like Jake Haener, he has to prove himself in these 4 games. We've seen people, Matt Flynn, make careers off of a good performance and like mop-up duty. If Jake Haener can come in here and look really good, it might position him for a fat daddy contract with a different team. If he looks really, really bad, and he looks like he can't even play in the NFL, that's bad news bears. So everybody, besides Alvin Kamara pretty much, is playing for their career and playing for their future. Darren Rizzi, if he goes 0 for 4 in these last 4 games, he will not be the head coach. If he goes 4-0, 3-1, He probably will be the next head coach. So how bad does he want that job? Clint Kubiak, if he keeps putting up stuff like we saw against the Giants, he won't be an offensive coordinator for the Saints, and no one else is going to hire him. So he better put up some numbers. Now, the problem with that is, simultaneously, we're max motivated, but we're hurt everywhere. So against the Commanders now, you've got Jake Haener, MVS, against the Buccaneers, same thing. Against like all these teams now, you are greatly handicapped as far as your roster. So you're max motivated, but as far as the horses and who you're playing with, not great.
So during Christmas, I think, it's a time to feel nostalgic.
Yes.
And think about the times of your childhood.
Yes.
And both the Falcons and Saints completely sucking again. There's something almost Norman Rockwell-esque about that. It's been the vast majority of the history of this rivalry.
I've said it before, this is a very antiquated take. He's talking about the early 90s, mid-90s, whatever. But for a majority of the last 20 years, I would say the Falcons and the Saints have been two of the most consistent franchises in the NFL. I mean, the Falcons, you can look at all the way back to Vic through Matt Ryan, pretty damn good, right? Like, even before Vic and even before Matt Ryan, what was it, 99? When the Falcons in the Super Bowl? They got steamrolled, but the Falcons were the team that beat the Vikings in the NFC title game, if I'm correct. Like, beat the best Vikings team ever. So it's just the same thing like with the Saints. The Saints over the last 25 years are like the 7th most winning franchise in the NFL. They've won more games than the Dallas Cowboys. They've won more division championships than the Cowboys. They've won more Super Bowls than the Cowboys. They've been to more NFC championship games than the Cowboys. So you have to go back to like early mid-90s, which at this point now you're talking about over 25 years ago, to get back to where it's like these two teams are just consistent dumpster teams. So I just think that's such a weird. I think that's a weird. It's almost like what's the thing with the Berenstain Bears where people forget or are confused of how it's spelled. All right, so this is the Saints and the Falcons over the last 30 years. Okay, since 1995. So over the last 30 years, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 20 playoff appearances in the last 30 years. You have 1, 2, 3. You have 3 Super Bowl appearances with 1 Super Bowl championship. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7 combined NFC championship game appearances. Like, I'm not saying that these two teams are the greatest teams ever, but over the last 30 years, like, yeah, you got some bad seasons in there, like this Haslett year, right? Like, Haslett goes 3-13 in his last year before Sean Payton. Before that, you go 8-8, 8-8, 9-7, 7-9, 10-6. So that run right there isn't anything crazy. A bunch of 7-9s in there. The Saints have won less than 6 games. 1, 2, twice. Oh, well, twice in the last 30 years. The Falcons are a little worse. In the last 30 years, they've won less than 6 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So, I mean, like, you know, and then as far as like the team being exciting or whatever, like you got Michael Vick into Matt Ryan for a majority of those years. I just think, and you have Drew Brees for whatever, 15 years or whatever it is. So I just think it's kind of, I just think it's weird whenever like that they have this, like I understand if you're talking about the 80s or the 70s or whatever, Like if you're talking about, like this run right here, if you're talking about from 86 to 67, this is pretty rough. If you're talking about, same with the Falcons, if you're talking about, 81 to 90, like, that's rough. But you're also talking about 40 years ago. Like, it's just such a weird thing that people are like, these two teams are dumpster teams. Like, 40-something years ago. But, I mean, I think we can go ahead and get rid of that, like that idea that the Saints and the Falcons are just consistent bottom feeders.
Basically this rivalry is bum fights over multiple decades. And we're getting back to that, which is great to see. As you have Kirk Cousins out here making $180 million. You have Derek Carr out here making $160 million.
The Falcons are in a way worse spot with the whole Cousins situation than the Saints are with Carr. Because, one, the Falcons paid Cousins more than Carr. But they also they wasted an 8th overall pick on a quarterback who is basically, I mean, he's considered like an older quarterback. So the fact that the guy that's waiting in the wings is older, like instead of taking a young quarterback, like why would it just made no sense at the time? It makes no sense now why you would do that. It's crazy.
$1 million or whatever it is. You just call it 180. I don't care. It's really fantastically inept from two of the most historically inept franchises in NFL history.
Bad ball.
Bad ball.
Real bad ball.
I mean, the Falcons have lost 4 games in a row.
Yeah,
and don't look now. Taylor's boy, Baker, and the Bucs back and clearly looking like the best team in just a god-awful NFC South.
7-6, but still, I mean,
winners are 3 in a row.
Yeah, there's something to play for. If you're, you might as well, again, if you're the New Orleans Saints, see what you can end up doing, seeing if you can create anything, any juice, any momentum, because I don't know what the offseason looks like. I mean, you have some tough choices. You got to find your next head coach. You have to figure out what you're going to do with the quarterback position. Are you really going to roll that out there again? Because I don't know where you're going to be in the draft. Can you get a franchise quarterback? I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, we've seen it happen in the draft before. I mean, top 3 quarterback doesn't guarantee you anything,
but it almost does.
It does not. And Patrick Mahomes was taken 10th. Mitchell Trubisky was taken 2nd. Like Trey Lance was taken 2nd. Bryce Young was taken over C.J. Stroud. Bo Nix was taken 14th by the Broncos. Like being top 3 does not. We've gone over this a million times. Like Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, even the generational players taken 1st overall, Andrew Luck, doesn't guarantee you anything.
I'm saying, or I mean, no, it doesn't almost guarantee you a good one. But if we look at all the good quarterbacks in the NFL, how many were not top picks? It's a short list. You can get lucky, but it is a short list.
What do you consider, I guess, top? Like you're saying top 5, top 10?
Say top 10.
I mean, the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL are who? Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Like who real quick, like who is the top 10? Because Josh Allen wasn't taken in the top 5. Patrick Mahomes wasn't taken in the top 5. Lamar Jackson wasn't taken in the top 5. So, like, Joe Burrow was taken obviously 1st overall. But again, like the Bengals are the same record as the Saints. So, I mean, players like Russell Wilson wasn't taken in the top 5. These players weren't even taken in the 1st round. Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins. Justin Herbert was taken 10th? I'm just trying to riff through these quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, obviously, last pick in the draft. Geno Smith, not taken in the 1st round. Matt Stafford, 1st overall. I bet I could go through a list of the NFL quarterbacks. Let's do this. All right, someone double check me. I'm gonna try and go through this entire list and give you a pretty deep. Well, hold on a second. Someone double check me, but I'm gonna try and go through this entire list and give you a ballpark of where I think they were drafted, just off the top of the dome. Lamar Jackson was taken 32nd. Josh Allen was taken I'll say 17th. Joe Burrow was first overall. Jameis Winston was first overall. Bo Nix was 14. C.J. Stroud was 3. Richardson was taken 4. Mac Jones was taken 10th. Trevor Lawrence was taken 1st. Patrick Mahomes was taken 10th. Desmond Ridder was taken in the second round, maybe the third round. Justin Herbert was taken, I think, 10th. Tua was taken, I'll say 5th. Drake May was taken 3rd. Aaron Rodgers was taken 22nd. Russell Wilson was taken in the 3rd round. Will Levis was taken, I'll say 11th. No. No. What was Levis taken? Was he a first rounder? No, because he dropped. Yeah, that was the whole thing. He dropped. So I'll say he was taken in the 2nd round. Cousins was taken in the 3rd round. Kyler Murray was taken first overall. First overall, Bryce Young. First overall, Caleb Williams. Cooper Rush was taken, who the hell knows. Dak Prescott was a 3rd rounder or a 2nd rounder. Jared Goff first overall. Jordan Love was 27th. Stafford was first overall. Darnold was 4th overall, maybe 3rd overall. McCarthy was taken top 10, 8th, something like that. Derek Carr was taken, I'll say bottom of the 1st round, 21st. Drew Lock, LOL. Daniel Jones released, but he was taken 6th. Jalen Hurts, 3rd rounder. Brock Purdy, last pick. Geno Smith, 2nd rounder. Baker Mayfield, 1st overall. Jaden Daniels, 2nd overall. So someone double check me. I bet I'm pretty damn close on every single one of them. And who the hell do you know can come up here and do that? Who the hell can come up here and do that 32, really more than that because I did some backups, in the NFL and tell you exactly where they were drafted? I'm on a whole different effing level. All right? I could go through and tell you the colleges too. No problem. Louisville, Wyoming, LSU, Florida State, Clemson, Oregon and Auburn, Stroud, Ohio State, Richardson, Florida, Mac Jones, Bama, Trevor Lawrence, Clemson, Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech, Desmond Ridder, Cincinnati, Justin Herbert, Oregon, Tua, Bama, Drake May, North Carolina, Aaron Rodgers, Cal, Russell Wilson, Wisconsin, Will Levis, Kentucky, Kirk Cousins, Michigan State, Michael Penix, Washington and Indiana, Kyler Murray, Oklahoma, Bryce Young, Alabama, Caleb Williams, USC, Cooper Rush. Don't know that one. I'll give you that. I would say Oklahoma State if I had to guess. Dak Prescott, Mississippi State, Jared Goff, Cal, Jordan Love, Utah State, Matt Stafford, Georgia, Sam Darnold, USC, J.J. McCarthy, Michigan, Fresno State, Derek Carr, Drew Lock. I feel like I should know that one. Drew Lock, Missouri. Someone check that. That one's cool. I don't know. I'll say Missouri. Daniel Jones, Duke. Jalen Hurts, Bama. Brock Purdy, Iowa State. Geno Smith, West Virginia. Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma. Jaden Daniels, LSU / Arizona State. Am I on a different level or am I on a different level? God bless.
I guess Mahomes technically wasn't top 10, so that's crazy.
He wasn't.
And
And he was 11, I want to say, because I think the same, maybe 12 because
Lattimore was
13.
11, right?
That was the Lattimore year.
Here's the leading passers. And this isn't the only metric to go off of, but it's just the first one I pulled up. Leading passers in the NFL: Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold, Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, C.J. Stroud. Of that,
But that's skewed because a lot of those guys are top 3 picks, but a lot of those guys you wouldn't say are top quarterbacks. So you wouldn't say Baker's a top quarterback. You wouldn't say Sam Darnold's a top quarterback. He's having a good year, but these are guys who are journeymen. These are guys who are, you wouldn't consider that top guy.
That was fast, but is
1, 2,
Geno, Kirk?
Kirk? No,
3,
Geno was the top pick. No,
4. You have 4 of the 10 that were outside the top 5.
Okay.
Geno was a top pick. No, he wasn't. Again, I'm sitting here, no notes. What do I have in front of me? Command strips right here, just command strips. I've got a pen. I've got a USB thing that doesn't work. I've got an Xbox controller. I've got fake flowers. And I've got the boy. I got the bulldog. I got that dog. Why? Why do I have this? Because I want to remind everybody that's watching that every single time I do this video, I got that dog in me. That's why. That's why he's sitting there staring me down. And I love him to death. Okay? That's it. I got nothing else in front of me. I got a cup of coffee that's lukewarm now. Notes, get out of my face. Every single quarterback in the NFL where they were drafted, what college they came from. Like, it's nothing. And I feel like Rain Man right now.
But how far? But
Outside top 10, really.
okay, outside the top 10.
Yeah, because Kirk Cousins was a 3rd-round pick. Geno Smith was a 1st-rounder, but later,
But
right?
he was like teen somewhere.
Lamar, same situation. Mahomes fell right outside the top 10.
Geno was a first-round pick. Get out of my face. Round 2, pick 39. Yeah, he was a late first-rounder. He was in the teens somewhere. Turn the lights off in that studio and get the hell out of there. ESPN 104.5. Isn't that where this is from? 104. Yeah. They should be begging me. I'm on a different level right now. I'm fired up. I might have a heart attack. They should be begging me to do 3 hours for them. Everybody in that studio. Oh, Geno Smith. Yeah, he was a top pick. No. He wasn't a top pick. He was in the teens. No. He was a late first rounder. No. Me. What I'm sitting here saying, no, he's a second rounder. This video might be my magnus opus, ladies and gentlemen. Goodness.
And
Okay, so you can get a first-round quarterback maybe somewhere in the middle of first round.
Brock Purdy's at 12. Obviously, we know he was Mr. Irrelevant. And, Bo Nix is a pretty good example.
Yeah, true. Bo Nix having a really good year.
Class.
Okay, so maybe there is some hope just getting a first-round quarterback if you go ahead and draft one then.
But
this blows my mind because, and nothing against these guys, obviously, but it took 30 seconds for T-Bob to realize, like, damn. Yeah, I guess not every quarterback is taken in the top 3. I guess not every good quarterback is taken in the top 3. Like, my whole thing is, how did you come into the video thinking that? Like, have we not? Like, we have decades and decades and decades of examples of this. Decades of examples. Like, how in the world do you come into the video with the preconceived notion that if you're not in the top 3, you ain't drafting a top quarterback? My God, the angels, the sun, the sky is parted. The angels are coming down. What is going on here? Is this a nuclear bomb? Am I being attacked? Is this a targeted attack, but from ESPN 104.5 because I'm on a whole different level? Is that what's going on here? Is it opening up? Am I seeing things clear?
Since they haven't done it since Archie Manning, I don't really have a lot of hope that they're going to actually do it.
Yeah.
But if you continue to roll out the same personnel, and look, Derek Carr hasn't
You
been
don't really
the
have a choice at this point.
I know,
though,
so
right?
he hasn't been the only
problem.
issue, but your cap situation, where you're going to be drafted now, looks like it's going to be somewhere between 9 and 13, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, probably where they've lived the last 3 years.
Like, what difference maker can you get that's going to be
Patrick Mahomes.
available?
Patrick Mahomes at 11 or 12. No, I don't know.
Or how about we just go to last year? How about we just go to last year's draft? What difference maker can you get? I don't know, like Brock Bowers? What the hell are we talking about? There's difference makers all over the place at 9 to 12. I mean, fellas, I will buy a subscription to Sports Illustrated and have it mailed to ESPN 104.5 if they'll promise to read it. Damn. Like, there's a lot of players you can get in there that will make an impact. We need that. We need the impact players at every position. If you, whatever, any and every position besides running back, but we do need running back depth. They're there. Newsflash, spoiler alert. They're there in the 2nd round. They're there in the 3rd round. They're there in the 4th round. They're there in the 5th round. Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams. Newsflash, those guys weren't top 10 picks. Those guys weren't first-round picks, okay? Isaiah Pacheco. You can fill out a whole damn Pro Bowl team with picks that were not in the 1st round. So, find them. Get them on the roster. We need the Cooper Kupps. Eastern Washington, maybe? Someone double check that. We need those players. We need them. So, blows my mind that we're talking about this, that, oh, well, if you're not in the top 3, if you're not in the top 10, you might as well just throw the pick in the trash.
Again, to your point, Jake, as you rebuild this thing.
The Green Bay Packers spent like 30 years, not that long, but they spent, pretty close, without a quarterback that was taken in the first round or in the top 10, with Favre into Rodgers into Jordan Love. Rodgers was the highest one. He was picked like 22nd.
It might not even be time to think quarterback yet. We'll see how the market shakes out, but yeah, it might not.
It depends on what they do financially. If they want to, again, like Carr's been good this year when he's played at times. It's not Carr's fault that the year has gone the way it has, but if financially the team decides that it's in their best interest to offload the contract and get rid of Carr, then, you probably do look for a quarterback. But even then, it's like, well, do you just go get like a journeyman, and then, do you go get like I'm trying to make something up, but do you go get a Joe Flacco type, let them exist for a year while you build the roster, and then you, when you have a little more space or whatever, then you get your quarterback, or, and if that's the case, then why even get rid of Carr in the first place? But again, it's all financial, and I don't, so.
Unless you fall in love with the guy, it might not be time yet.
I mean, and also there's other positions that you're going to, I don't think you have a player in the top 50.
Hold on, I've got a list right here, Jake, of the other positions Saints need, and it says everything.
Yeah,
it says every.
That's the good thing about the Saints situation going into the draft, is that you do need literally everything. Like, you can throw a dart. Even if you threw a dart and landed on Ashton Genty, and you're like, well, damn, the only thing we didn't need was a running back. Then it's like, you know what? We're just going to do what like Detroit does, and we're just going to use both backs and whatever. But like, even Genty, someone who probably isn't even a starter, you would assume Kamara's still the starter, but all of a sudden Genty is the second best player on the offense. So yeah, throw a dart.
Every single position, yeah. Except for, ironically, maybe like offensive tackle, you're kind of okay. Unless you want to
But even then, if you threw a dart and landed on Will Campbell, the LSU offensive lineman, and you were like, well, damn, we have Will Campbell now. It's like, well, actually, let's just move Fuaga back to right tackle, have Will Campbell play left tackle, and put Trevor Penning at guard. It's like, damn, that actually did make the line better. So even left tackle, which is arguably our best position this entire year, even that makes the team better.
Unless you have a beast tackle, I can see that, and then you bump Penny down a guard. But like, have we arrived at a sick place where the Saints' offensive line is actually the
strength of their team?
I know.
Yes.
I know.
No, we haven't. The tackle positions are, but the offensive line is not. But the tackle positions are.
What a bad roster.
I know you've had injuries, but like when you start talking about leading receivers, your leading receiver on this team is your running back. Yeah. And Alvin Kamara is 65th in the NFL as far as receiving yards.
Yeah.
So there's 64 players in the NFL
that would lead the team
of anything that you have.
Bro, we have literal dudes off the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the roster is an absolute disaster. Like that's why when I'm talking about, I like Rizzy. Yeah, I like whatever. I hope the team does well. But whenever you're like, all right, we have the Commanders. All right, we have the Packers on prime time on the road. All right, we have the Buccaneers. And then you look at who we're sending out there, and it's Jake Hayner, Cedric Wilson, MVS, Jamal Williams is getting carries, like Foster Moreau and Jawan Johnson. Like, what do you expect? If we had our full roster, yeah, we could beat the Packers. Yeah, we could beat the whoever. But at a certain point, you have to look around and just say, like, man, damn, like we're playing with. I mean, it's the same thing with the Pelicans. Like when the Pelicans starting five is Brandon Boston Jr. and who the hell, like just random people that they found outside of the stadium. Like, I mean, it's not a professional team.
I mean, Kevin Austin Jr. played over 50 snaps in this game against the Giants.
I mean, honestly, if I want to stick by my Arizona State take, the Saints being 5-8 right now, much more impressive than the Chiefs being 11-1 or 12, whatever the hell they are now.
I don't want to talk about the Chiefs.
I know. I'm sorry, dude. Doink for the division, huh? Jeez.
I mean, like the play they converted to be able to kill the
I didn't
clock.
see it. Was it a penalty?
Oh,
no,
Travis
it's like
Kelce.
the most Chiefs.
Yeah, it was Travis Kelce's
the most
leaked
Chiefs
out
play ever, where you've got great pressure on Mahomes, you miss a sack, and he just finds Kelce like on a knee, basically throws it to him first down. They run out the clock, and then That field goal doesn't go in for any other team.
No, but it's the Chiefs too.
It's the Chiefs though. It doinks off and goes in.
Yeah.
For the division.
Yeah.
Doink for the division.
I mean, if it doesn't go in, like you lose the game. The Chargers did all that to come back down 13-0.
Yeah.
And you don't want to talk.
By the way, if you're following my Instagram channel, which I mean, come on, guys, you would know that I have a four team parlay: Chiefs to win the division, Eagles to win the division, U.S. Women's National Team to win the gold, and Leeds United to win the whatever the hell the second tier of English football. 3 of those are hit. Kansas City clinched the division. The U.S. Women's National Team won, and the Eagles are going to win their division. It's going to come down to Leeds. So I am the biggest Leeds United fan for the next 20 weeks. I think they have 20 games left. So insane that a multi-sport crazy parlay I'm now sweating. So Leeds United, come on, baby.
How about dudes off the street?
I feel
Chargers are duct tape and super glue right now.
I feel like the Chiefs have won every game.
But think about that. Like Jacob just said, the Chargers are duct tape and super glue. Think about how much better the Chargers are, quote unquote, duct tape and super glue, than what the Saints have. Justin Herbert, Khalil Mack, Bosa, like these players, they are. When you look at what the Saints have going on, even like Gus Edwards is so much better than Jamal Williams, right? Like Joshua Palmer would look like Randy Moss compared to who the Saints are rolling out there.
Game 15-13 this year. Have they scored in the 20s once this season?
I saw a stat
gross,
the other day. I'm actually working on confirming it right now. I saw a stat that said if you take away the last 2 minutes of every game, the Chiefs have the worst record in the NFL.
Oh, let's go. Legends, dude. But isn't that kind of the point that we talked about, though? Like, good teams, find a way.
They do. Good teams do find a way.
And bad teams find a way to lose, which I thought the Saints
sure.
were going to do yesterday. Credit to the Rizzler for not letting it happen. Wow. Just
God, this video, I put on an absolute show. Get in the comments below. Y'all better be firing off in the comments after this one. Y'all better be firing off in the comments. I will see you in the next video.